Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our UserXpress lunchtime webinars. My name is Laura Newland. I'm the Operations Manager here at 1905. Today is our fourth session of the week where we are teaching you about UserXpress. Hopefully you're getting a better understanding of it and how it could help your SAP security team save time and, well, some frustrations as well. Today we're going to be showing you 3 different ways to create users using the Create User functionality, Fast Copy, and also Create Ranged Users. And we're going to do it all in 15 minutes. I'm going to turn you over now to Dara Noctor, our founder, who's going to take you through today's session.
Hi, Laura.
Dara?
Thanks very much. Thanks for that introduction there. Let me just go through here. So thank you again, everybody. Just want to go over a quick recap over the last few days. So on Monday, we spoke about how to install the application and how there was no transport changes or repairs or any configuration required on any of your SAP systems. That UserXpress uses SAP's own API to communicate, create, and manage the users. Then on Tuesday, we took a tour of the screen layouts, what's involved, the various components, and how you can personalize the screen to suit you on the information that you want to see. And we also looked at the queries and how to build queries to basically find users in all your systems and clients with advanced query functionality. We also introduced you to what we call pre-canned queries, which are queries that are authored by 1905 that you can then augment with your own details to create even more new queries. And then yesterday and Wednesday, we took a tour of the actual functionality within the application, such as resetting a password or assigning emails, S&C changes, and parameter management. We also took, I suppose, a close look on deactivating users or when users leave a company. So in one step, what we did was we selected 27 user IDs across 10 different clients, and then we deactivated the password. Put the valid to date into the past, changed it to a system user, deactivated the password. All standard SAP practice, best practices for basically shutting down a user on an SAP system. And then finally, we did some role assignment on how we can just drag and drop roles onto selected users. So that's what we covered over the last few days. So today, what we're going to do is talk about creating users. Now, Laura mentioned earlier on there's 3 methods that we're discussing today, and there's actually 4, but we're actually giving one session to the final one tomorrow for mass user create. But today we're going to focus on 3 particular kind of, I won't call them pain points, but certainly points of maybe frustration. And the first is, I suppose, do what we call fast copy, which is where we clone users. And the second one is creating a ranged user. So this is typically where we see in performance testing, where you might see or have a request to create 100 users, like performance user 1, performance user 2, performance user 3, etc. So serialized or ranged users. And then finally, we're going to just take a really good look at just creating a user using a screen that users would be familiar with SU01. But again, creating users in one step across many clients at the same time. So that's a really interesting one. So first off, we'll take a look at fast copy or user clone. So what we'll do here is we'll use a user ID that we had yesterday, Barnes_T Tom Barnes. And if we want to clone this user, we just select that amount of users there, and then we do fast copy. And this is ideal for when you receive a request, maybe typically from a development team, where the request might say, can you create an ID for John, the new starter, that he's just joined the team, and he needs the same access as I do wherever I have a user ID. So we take a look here, and we just put in, say, what's that? So, and again, _A, Andrew, whoops, typo. Password, and S&C name, we can enter that or email address. We click OK here. Now what we'll do is we'll take a copy of Tom Barnes ID and create a new ID here. So here we can see we've selected 5 clients, same ID. I'll click on that and look up the user. So we can see here that the user has been created. Again, if we double click, it'll open up SU01. So we can see the details that have been copied from Tom Barnes ID. So again, it's just a very, very quick way of just cloning a user. And again, it's just one very easy step to do. Now let me just get that up here. The second way, the second function for creating users is what we call the create ranged user. And as we mentioned earlier, it's about creating like web test users. Let me just see if I have this already. No, super. So let me just space on that. So what I can do is I can select the system and the client that I want to create the serialized user in, create ranged user. And what we can do is web underscore test underscore. And for the number, what I do is I put in 2 square brackets. And we'll see down here just an example of the user that will be created. If I want to put in leading zeros for the users 1 to 9, I can include that. And we'll put in a password here. Make the password productive if we want. And let's just make that 5 users for the interest of time. And I can select here who I want to copy the credentials from. So again, we'll just go with Barnes underscore T. And then we click OK. And we'll see the user being created here in the selected client up here. Do close. And we look for the user web underscore test. Again, double click on that, open it up. We can see logon data. Again, information that's copied from Tom Barnes ID. So again, it's just a very, very quick way of creating kind of serialized users that seems to be very common in development environments. So that's the second way of creating users. Now, the third and final way that we're going to discuss today is the just create user function. So this is creating a user, I suppose, as it would be if you were in, say, transaction SU01. So it's a very kind of it's a very familiar screen here. But what we're presented here is the opportunity to select the systems that we want to create a user in. Okay, so we can select our users here. And then what we need to do is we need to click this button, Get Common Data. So what this does is it retrieves information such as licensing data, roles, parameters, groups, user types, etc. And what it does is it pulls out all the information that's common to those particular clients. So when we're creating a user, all the information that we're choosing is common, which makes it just, I suppose, a very very easy way of creating the user within each system. So let's click on that. We can see it down here, getting the information. Okay. Now what we can do is we can create a user. So it's just we do this, Barnes underscore T. We'll be warned that this message, that this user rather, already exists in the client. So it gives us a warning to say, listen guys, look, this user is already taken. So let's just see yes. Okay, so we're good. So let's just create a password here. Say Simon Barnes. And we can enter in an email address here, SNC alias, maybe a valid to date. Just we can select user group, say just admin. Counting, let's say AC01, cost center CASA-018. There's a lot of address information here. Again, this is similar to what you'll see in SU01. What I'd like to do is I'd like to just spend a minute talking about the roles tab here, because this is very interesting. If you use CUA, this might look somewhat familiar. But what this option allows us to do is to be very, very precise on the roles that we can assign to the users as a whole, or if we want to be specific on a client basis of what role a user should be assigned. So if we select all here, this means that all of the systems I've chosen and clients I've chosen here will be assigned, say, this role. Again, select all here, say author. This means that the user, Barnes_S, will be created in those 4 clients, will be assigned these particular roles here. If I want to be specific and say I just want a specific role assigned to Barnes_S in client 100 and DM1, I can be that specific as well. So we just take that one there. Or maybe on DM2, I want to be specific, say client 200, and say, add that role there. If I want to assign a reference user for additional authorizations, in this example, I'll just select one. Defaults, again, very, very kind of familiar from SU01 use. And then parameters, as we've seen previously. We can choose parameters here. And just call it X12, just make an example here. Again, we can assign groups again. And licenses as well. So we can assign any license that's active on each of the clients. So when I click create user, it'll create a user in each of these clients. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. So let's just copy this here. Close. User Barnes_S, and we'll create it. So you double click. And here's the information that we entered earlier on in the create user screen. I think it was blank at the time. Parameters, X12, and the roles that have been assigned. And notice the extra role down here that was very specific for this client 100, where this one, these 2 were assigned to all clients. And if we take a look at client 200, again, we'll see them here. Again, this was a role that was specific just for this particular client, but incorporated also the roles that were assigned all. So again, this is a very, very efficient way of creating a user from scratch and assigning it to any selected clients and systems. So within a few minutes, you can actually create a user across many, many clients and systems. And again, the strength of the application is based on the more clients you have, the more systems that you have, it just gets easier and easier to manage your users. So that's really it for today. We've shown everything here about create users, but tomorrow we'll do a mass user create, which is a very interesting method of creating users across systems and clients with very, very little configuration. Okay, just pass you back to Laura.
Okay, thanks, Dara. That was great. Can you believe how easy and fast it is to create users across multiple clients and systems? You can try it yourself if you'd like by downloading our free 30-day trial from our website. The trial comes with full technical support, and it's a full copy of UserXpress. As Dara mentioned, tomorrow we will be showing you another exciting feature and a customer favorite of ours. It's called Mass User Create. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow. If in the meantime you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email at laura.newland@1905ideas.com. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at lunchtime. Bye-bye.